Are you a health coach who falls into the chit-chat trap with your clients and never really gets anywhere during your coaching sessions? Do you feel like your sessions are more like a conversation with a friend rather than a real coaching session? Do you want to have more focus and help your client feel accomplished and productive at the end of your coaching sessions? Well, if you said yes to any of this, then this video is absolutely for you. So recently, I've had an opportunity to listen in to some masters coaching their clients. And what I noticed is that every one of them was spending time at the beginning of the session setting the focus, clarifying the agenda, and discussing the outcome of the session. So I teach this in my Health Coaching Essential course, and it's also part of our competencies as board-certified health coaches. It really is a best practice. So for these masters, it simply wasn't just saying, what do you want to focus on today? They took it further to get real clarity and getting specific about what the client wanted to talk about and what they hope to achieve by the end of the session. When I listen to new coaches practicing, what I hear is sometimes a very basic question about what the client wants to focus on. But I rarely hear the coach follow up, dig deeper, and get that true clarity that's required for a productive coaching session. Usually, the coaches just go with whatever the client says and they jump in. But most times, the agenda has not been confirmed. So I want to give you an example. Maybe the client says that they want to focus on stress or exercise. Great, those are great areas of focus or subject matters, but what specifically around stress or exercise does the client want to focus on, right? Those are big topics. Or what I hear sometimes is when asked what they want to focus on, the client may get into a long-winded story about all the challenges they had that week. They might start complaining about everything that's going wrong. Again, we really need to jump in as the coach to help clarify. What out of all this should we address today? What's one of those challenges that's most pressing right now? As the coach, it really is our job to help the client get as clear as possible about the specific topic and what they want to discuss. It's also really important for us as the coach to truly understand what the client is saying so that we're both on the same page. So clarifying the agenda is an agreement that we make at the beginning of the session with our client. So as the coach, we must uphold and use our skills and tools to guide the client to their desired outcome. Also, asking the client about what they want to focus on keeps the client in the driver's seat. They get to set the agenda, and it gives them the opportunity to start thinking about what they need most in this moment. So I just wanted to provide you with a few examples of the questions that I heard some of these masters asking to bring that clarity and specific focus so that we can facilitate productive coaching sessions for our clients. So I wanted to say just up front, you wouldn't ask all of these questions, but maybe pick a couple that resonate most with you. And typically you would spend maybe 2 to 10 minutes on this section around setting the agenda. So some of the general area of focus questions I heard them asking were things like, what would be helpful for us to cover today? What do you want to make sure we cover in our time together today? In our time today, what could we explore together? Where do you want to go today? What's the topic or focus for today? And then in getting a little bit more specific around outcomes, I heard them asking things like, what specifically around this do you want to discuss? What would you like to touch on by the end of our session today? In our time today, how do you want to work with this? If you had a magic wand, what would you have by the end of our time together? The good old magic wand question. What do you want to achieve today? Which one of these topics is most important to you? And what do you want to take away from the session today? So it really is important to, get more depth and meaning about the topic as well in the beginning. So you might want to ask something like, what would it be like if you reduced stress, you did more exercise? Get the client to anticipate the outcomes, those positive benefits and impact, no matter what the topic is. Then once that is established, simply ask, where would you like to start today, right? Once we get that background, especially if the client shares a lot about a situation or circumstance. You could say, okay, there's a lot there. Where would you like to start today? Also, in setting the agenda, we never make assumptions, really anytime in coaching, but really important here. Don't assume you know what the client is talking about. For example, say something like, so when you talk about blank, what do you mean so we know what we're talking about? Again, never make assumptions. If there's anything that's unclear for you as the coach, ask. It's also going to help get the client to be more specific. Also in the beginning here, we really want to keep it in scope of practice. If the client, for example, talks about chronic pain, medical issues, illnesses, you might want to say something like, I can't cure your illness or take away all your pain today, so what would be the best use of our time together today? What can I, as your coach, help you with today? That'll bring some clarity. Also, if the client says they want to discuss a number of different things, help them pick the one that resonates most today. Right? We only have 45 minutes here today, so in that time, what's most important to focus on or accomplish? And it's really, really important as you set the agenda to use your reflections, right? Reflect back what you heard the client say to ensure that you are both on the same page and that you're ready to dive in. So taking time at the beginning of your coaching session to set the agenda, bring clarity, is going to serve both you and your clients well. It's going to set you up to have a productive and successful coaching session. I hope those questions were helpful for you today. Thanks for tuning in, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have in the comments below.